I think dan kan ons begin. Namens die feeskomitee, so baie welkom by hierdie spesiale vergadering. Ons ons het twee mense vanaand wat op 'n hogere vlak is. Charlene is nou tweester en Grobby het 'n moeilike deurbraak gemaak met 2 internasionale salonne. Hy is nou binne in die middel van 4 ster, so 3 ster ten minste, wat is dit nou? Ja, baie geluk julle twee, dit is knap gedaan.
Dankie Reepies.
Right. Dan ons beoordelaar vanaand, sy naam is Clifford Els. Hy's 'n ou man van Southern Suburbs. Hy is baie bekwaam en hy's 'n goeie vriend van ons en ons sê van baie welkom. Thanks Cliffy for Ek so lanklaas Engels gepraat. Thanks for making time to spend with us. I hope you enjoy it and you enjoy the refreshments, your own, I hope. So,
yeah, thank you.
And Tino, kan ons wegval?
Okay, I'm going to show you the first picture. It's called. Let me see. Okay, it's called Mamma Mia.
Okay, give it a 10. Very nice interaction between the cub and the mother, the lioness. It's always nice to get that good interaction between the animals, and you don't get it that very often. I like the coloring, and I like the background that slowly fades out, and there's no distracting trees or bushes or anything in the background. Well done.
Drakensberg.
11. Yeah, very nice view of the Drakensberg. You've got a very nice foreground with the reflection of the clouds and the mountain in the water. And then your eye slowly goes up towards the top of the photograph. Nice clouds in the sky, nicely burnt in. And I like the gradation of the darkness. You start in the foreground very dark, and then you slowly go up to the lighter sky. Thank you.
Daisy Beauty.
Difficult. 9. The photograph's got a lot of impact as it comes up. The yellows is a very advancing color, and it immediately attracts your eye and draws your eye into the photograph. I'm battling, and it might be the screen or the zoom that the center of the flower looks a little bit soft on my screen here, but the impact and the color is very nice, and the background is nicely muted. Thank you.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, excellent macro photography of the bee collecting the pollen. Very nicely done. The bee is perfectly sharp. You can see all the little hairs and the veins in the wings. The color saturation is very nice. Possibly the outer perimeter of the photograph is a little bit bright, and the whites start to blow out. So you can either darken that down by putting a bit of a vignette around it, or you could just actually cut off the edges and it would improve. Thank you. I didn't give it a score. Yeah, yes, 11. 11.
Volstruis met son onder.
12. I actually stepped back a little bit to get the full value of the photograph. The detail and the backlighting on the ostrich.
Ja, nee, achter die screen.
Okay, gaan.
Okay, I was just saying I like the backlighting against the neck and the face of the ostrich, and the sun is not overpowering in any way. My eye stays with the ostrich, lovely backlighting. Maybe the body is a little bit too dark. Maybe if you can get a little bit of detail in the body, it'll improve the photograph, but overall, well done.
Thank you. Wife watching.
Yeah, 10. I actually like your composition, all the lines that you've got. You've got the horizontal lines and virtually no vertical lines breaking the patterns. So it's very sharp, right from the rocks all the way to the back of the sea, to the horizon line. The horizon line is nicely on a third or even fifth, which is very nicely done. And then you got that wave in the center of the photograph, which attracts your eye and becomes the center of interest. Exposure is good, color is good. Yeah, well done.
Palm and bloom.
Who's the host has stopped it? Okay.
Difficult. 10. I think this photograph is very sharp. I like the fact that it's sharp right from the bottom of the photograph up to the yellow flower or whatever is in there. And in the background, it seems to go out of focus again. You didn't like, I was going to say, you didn't like my comment on the first photo. Okay.
Something jumped around here.
Okay. So I think the background, although it's busy, it doesn't distract you all that much. And well done.
Ete.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, the action is amazing that the authors managed to capture here. And that glint in the eye of I presume it's a buffalo, it looks like, is fantastic. My eye goes straight away to the eye of the buffalo. And then you notice the strength of the lioness. Nothing is cut off, nice and sharp. The only thing, possibly there are highlights on the horns of the buffalo and on the flank of the lion. If you can tone those down a little bit, it's excellent. Well done.
Up in the air.
It's amazing. Everyone goes to ballet and they all wait for this shot where the ballerinas jump up in the air. Very nicely captured. The two dancers in unison, their formation is exactly the same, which adds to the photograph. The background's not overpowering, and your face to your eye keeps going to the ballerina. Nice colors, well done. You want to score 10.
Laat die vonke spat.
Yeah, 12. Very creative photograph here. You've obviously got the sparklers behind the wine glasses or cocktail glasses. And it actually looks like there's liquid inside it, even though the glasses are upside down. So it creates a nice illusion. It's not overlit. There's one or two hot spots that I can see here, which if you can somehow tone them down or even take them out, like on the apex of the jar of the two glasses, those are a little bit bright, but very good idea and well executed.
Stadig oor die pad.
Yeah, very nicely seen. We all see these tortoises or little animals crossing the road when we go along these sand roads, and we never really stop and take the photograph. And the author's taken the time to stop and compose the photograph and get it in its environment. And you can almost feel how slow this tortoise is, that it's going to take him about an hour to cross the road. So you've got the feeling going, the vibe is right, nice and sharp. I like that it's out of focus, then the tortoise is in focus and out of focus again. Yeah, well done.
Alleen loper.
Yeah, 10. I think the mood that the authors managed to create by converting this to black and white is the right decision. Possibly it's not as great in color. So I like the black and white. The figure, the white stands out of the figure, the hat and the shirt. It's not overblown. There's detail in there, which is very nice. But on my screen, and I don't know if there's a lot of bright little spots. I don't know if it's dirt on the sensor or whatever, but one of the last things I always do is I look at my photograph and I enlarge it to about 200%, and then I go around and I spot out with a healing brush all these white spots that I see on the photograph. So those white spots, there's just too many of them. It detracts from me. I would have given it a higher score if those white dots weren't all over the place. Thank you.
Paul Reyer.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, fantastic action. Yeah, Peter Thomas. Yeah, yeah, lovely action. The eye of the bull with a highlight in it, and the little person, youngish guy, woman falling off the bull. It's got all the action, all the expressions, very nicely done. Yeah, well done. Nice one.
Housefly.
Um, 11. I actually like the colors that the authors managed to get on the housefly. You never really look at it and you don't really see these colors, but close up you see them. You can see all the little veins, the structures, and all the hairs. So from a macro point of view, it's been very well handled. Possibly the only advice I can give is to tone down the background a little bit. It's a little bit bright in relation to the fly. Thank you.
Bosveld Dam.
Yeah, 9. I think it's a nice scene and it's reasonably well composed in terms of the line of thirds with the horizon on the top third and then the dam on the bottom third. It just, to me, it lacks a center of interest. Somehow in your photograph, when you look through the lens, you have to always say, what is my center of interest? Every photograph needs a center of interest. And I find my eye going all around the photograph, looking for that one thing that will attract my eye and stop me and make me have a look. The exposure is good, the color is good. Otherwise, it's well done.
Cosmos.
11. The colors are fantastic here. The pinks and the greens and the yellows are all exceptionally well done. And I think it works really well. I'm trying to see here, 3-star. Yeah, I think the author's done very well to get the colors and the detail and the sharpness. It's very well done. The only thing that bothers me a little bit is on the bottom left-hand side are the little green pieces of leaves. I think it would have looked a bit better if that was taken out completely and you just had a black on the corner there. Well done.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, 12. Just for the originality and the creativity, it's very well done. I like all the faces. There is texture in the faces. We're not going to judge the faces as portraits, but just the concept as a whole in the egg basket. Very, very nicely done. I'm trying to see they're repeating the same faces, but every face has a different expression on it and a different color. Yeah, very well done.
Opera.
Ten. Yeah, very nice evening shot. I think the exposure for the sky and the domes of the opera are very well handled, and the lighting inside the opera is very nice. Just on my screen, on the right-hand side, all the buildings have quite a lot of lights on, and they look overexposed. Possibly you can just run a burning tool just to burn it down a little bit, just to take that brightness out. Thank you.
So cool.
11. Yeah, I like the idea. I like the pose. I like the way that the model is holding the hat. Very nicely done. On my screen, it looks, the lighting on the right-hand side looks a little bit over bright, but possibly on Elise's screen, it looks okay. The use of the white shirt, I would recommend you change the color, and you can do that in Photoshop. I would change it to a gray or a dark brown or something like that. It is a bit bright, but well done.
2 koppe is beter as 1.
9. I like the idea of the 2 heads crossing over. Got nice detail in the skin that works out very nicely. I just think the eye is not, the eye and the mouth of the front, whatever, is not as sharp as you would like it. They're obviously moving all the time, and just that little bit of movement gave you blur. Thank you.
Wandel in die berge.
11. I actually like the leading of the path here. That's the start of the journey for me. It feels like you're going on a hike, and it takes you into the photograph, and then you look down the valley and up into the hills. The sky is a little bit blown out on the top left-hand side, but the exposure and the sharpness is all there, and there's lots of detail. Well done.
Watching you.
10. Yeah, the photographs got a lot of impact as it comes up. It's got that cute factor to it. I like that the one ear is standing up and the other one is slightly down. And there's very nice detail in the hair on its mouth and its nose, around its eyes. Those are very well handled. I think it looks like it's been taken in natural light, daylight, and it's come out a little bit warm. I would tone it slightly differently, cool it down just a little bit, add a little bit of blue, just to get, I think, the whites around the mouth and that are not quite white. So just adjust your color tone just a little bit. And once again, take out all the dirty spots in the background. Thank you.
Stink plant, stink bug.
9. I think the idea is there, the color is there. As soon as it goes up, the color hits you, and it's very nice. Unfortunately, the stink bug, which is the center of interest, is not as sharp as it should be. I think the one feeler is kind of antenna is sharp enough, but the body itself is not sharp enough, and it tends to blend in with the flower. Thank you.
Hastige zebras.
11. I like the action that the authors managed to capture here, and it goes right across the screen. My eye kind of went from the right-hand side and followed the zebra all the way across to the left-hand side. So very nicely done. I like the road leading up into it. It's nice and sharp. The colors are nice. The only thing that worries me a little bit is I think there's too much sky. Somehow play around with the cropping and put in as little sky as possible so that your eye goes straight to the road and to the zebra. Thank you.
Thank you. Carlsberg runes.
Yeah, 11. I actually like the effect that the author's done. You've obviously done some post-processing on it to try and get those different colors in the sky and the very rich colors in the walls of the ruins. Very nicely done. Lots of detail, and that's very well done. Once again, I don't know if you see it on your screens, but on my screen, you're starting to get banding on the top of the photograph in the sky and noise. They just changed and got a little bit better. But I would cut a little bit off of the top of the photograph. I think it will force your eye to look at the ruins a lot better. Thank you.
Model.
Yeah, lovely model that you've managed to use here, and I like your color palette that you've got, the contrasting colors between the background and the foreground, the orange and the blue. I think those contrasting colors work very well. The hands are nicely shaped around the face. The hands don't attract your eye keeps going to the face. Very nicely done, well cut off. I think the arms cut off in the middle are right, slight tilt to the eyes. I think that's been very well handled. It looks like the softening on her arms are more than on her face. So I like the detail in her face because I don't like the face to be too soft, too plasticky, and I think the author's got it right. But the arms I think are a little bit soft. And then the only other thing is the background. I would tone down the background a little bit. It's a little bit bright, but a lovely photograph. Well done.
Big boy.
Yeah, 13. Yeah, for me, this is a very creative black and white photograph, creative wildlife kind of shot. It's not, it forces you to look. When you look at the photograph, it's not like, okay, that's an elephant in Kruger. There's a little bit of mystery to the photograph. You can't quite see the eyes. There's quite a lot of grain, which is very nicely done. The tusks are very well handled. Lots of detail, sand, old tusks, very well done. The only thing that worries me slightly is in the body, in the legs, the front legs. It's a bit of a black patch, and that might be the screen. or looking at it through Zoom. If you can get a little bit more detail there, it's a fantastic photograph. Thank you.
Rest 'n bietjie.
Yeah, very interesting. 11. Very interesting format that the author's got here. Almost panoramic. It is panoramic, but you've got enough animals in the photograph to keep you interested. They're all looking at one thing. All their eyes are open. Yeah, very nicely done. Nice color, nice and sharp. The background is a little bit mottled, as is the foreground. I don't know if you can somehow just burn the foreground and the background in a bit, so you don't get that mottled light, dark kind of effect, but well done.
Musikale hande.
Yeah. 12. I like the mood that the author has managed to capture here. You can clearly see it's a musical instrument and it's being played, and it's kind of classical, and there's enough detail just on the fingers and on the strings in that area around the fingers. The foreground is out of focus, the little turning buttons, and then the background is out of focus, but you can see what it's all about. Very well handled. Well done.
Blomme cirkel.
Yeah, 10. The idea is very good. The use of the slightly brighter yellow in the middle, right in the middle of the photograph, works well. It's not always that you want your center of interest in the middle, but this time it works. And then the flowers slowly going out. Why did I bring it down? I'm not too sure why I didn't take it up a little bit. I think it's maybe got to do with, I don't know, there's too many overlays. It looks like you've just kind of put one photograph on top of the other. There's no like blending in of the photos. Thank you.
Maanwandeling.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, lovely idea, very good composite. The moon, I'm just trying to look if it's the same moon that was about 2 weeks ago that everybody was taking. And he's enlarged it and done a composite out of it. Yeah, very well done, very effective, lots of detail in the moon, and then just enough detail in the silhouettes. Yeah, well done.
Knuckles close up.
Uh, 10. In terms of an exercise in texture and close-up, almost macro, I think the author's achieved that, and it's done fairly well. I battle a little bit in, if you hadn't said in the title Knuckles, I wouldn't have known that's what you were photographing, and for that it brings it down a little bit for me, but the texture is very nicely done.
Harties.
Nine. So it's nice and sharp, right from the foreground to the background, nice colors, exposure is good, and that's very, very nice. I think two things, when you're going to do landscapes, really try to do it early in the morning, like before 7 o'clock in the morning, or do it 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, just to get that little bit of side lighting, to get the mood going, here it's a very nice photograph, well taken, but it's the wrong time of day. There's no modeling in the photograph. I think also have a look. It seems to be slanting down towards the left, where and you could easily just correct that a little bit by cropping properly. Thank you.
Treinspore.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, very nice leading lines here, the train lines. Takes you right into the photograph, to the silos at the background there. Nice detail, nice and sharp. Once again, I would cut out as much sky as possible, because it's, you got clouds in there, but it's not that interesting. And I'm also not convinced the composition is right. It looks like this time it's leaning from left to right. I was an accountant for 40 years, and for me, everything has to be straight up and down. But nicely done, nicely seen. Well done.
Maltese wine.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, lots of technical things to do to photograph a glass in the way that you have, and get the colors and get the rims and get that black line going down the rim. And then the colors in the background, very well done. Yeah, I like it a lot. If you can possibly, the bottom right-hand red square, if you can get that to be a nice deep red, similar to the one in the glass, it's a lovely shot. Well done.
Watertoring.
Nine. You've got all the elements. It's nice and sharp. The exposure is reasonably well handled. It looks like an overcast day, so you don't get those bright highlights or low shadows, dark shadows. So it's a little bit flat for me because of the lighting, which is nothing you can do about. It's an interesting structure to take, and it's been well handled.
Connor.
Okay, difficult one for me. I would say a 10. Doing these circles, I think, adds to the photograph, which is quite nicely done. And the skateboard, the authors managed to get it to wrap in the same direction as the circle, so that kind of works. What doesn't work for me is the borders. I don't know, you got so much circle there. I would have preferred to have just seen just a circle with a guy in the middle. The border for me doesn't quite do it. Thank you.
Vibe.
$11. Yeah, very much a close-up of the vape, and I'm not too sure where the smoke is coming from, because I don't think it would come out the vape like that, but I have no idea. But there's nice textures on the fingers. There's enough detail in the smoke itself, and then all those white trails coming off the smoke, I think, is quite nicely handled. The only thing I would do is some of them are, and I know it's very hard to do, and you're kind of thinking nitpicking, but there are a couple of vape trails that are just arbitrary, crossing other lines and whatever. if you can somehow take those out of the picture and you make the picture a little bit cleaner than what it is. But well done.
Oranje hakskimmel.
Nine. So the orange, the color immediately pulls you into the photograph, and that's very nicely done. I like the texture. The author seems to have got very nice focus right from the foreground up until about the second, whatever those hakskimmel is. And then the focus seems to lose it. You really want it to be extremely sharp the whole way through the orange part of the photograph. And the photograph is, and the sharpness is just starting to drop off on the top third of the image, which I think detracts a little bit from the photograph. But the colors are very well handled.
Polo cross.
Uh, 11. I'm not. Yeah, in terms of a sports photograph, it's well done. You've got the peak of the action. You've got enough expression on the faces of the riders there. You can see the expression on each of their faces quite clearly. The only thing that puzzles me is the rider in the middle. I would expect her to be the one with the ball, but the ball is way over on the left-hand side of the photograph. It kind of says to me, did the author add the ball in later? If you did add the ball, I would have preferred it in that catch net of the rider in the middle. But well done.
Blue eyes.
A 9. Yeah, once again, a very nice shot of the dog. Nice and sharp around the eyes. But then I think you use a very shallow depth of field, or the dog was walking or something, because then the nose is out of focus and you start to lose it up on the ears and whatever. So around the eye is very strong. I'm just thinking to myself, would I have cut the ears off of the dog and not included that sky up at the top there? Because you've worked on that sky to make it dark, but I just don't like the sky. I think the main photograph is very close in on the eye, and then I think the mouth and the nose, it would have been acceptable to be out of focus. Thank you.
Lockdown.
Yeah, nice. 12. It takes a while for your eye to settle and distinguish what you have photographed. But once you can see it, it's very clear, it's very sharp. The feathers of the birds are very nicely done. The eyes are very clear. And I think it hangs together very nicely. Well done.
Kameelperde.
Uh, 10. It's a very nice, well-taken photograph of the giraffe in the environment. You've got lots of the environment, which I like. The colors are very nice. The road leading up to them are very nice. The two more or less staring at one another. A little bit of interaction there, very nicely done. I suspect the focus on the on the giraffe on the right-hand side is not as sharp as you would like it, but well done.
Thank you. Cosmos Train.
$11. Yeah, the composition I think is very well handled. The front of the train probably lightened up just a little bit, and your eye immediately goes to that front of the train, and then it slowly takes your eye down the back, and the train tracks also take you down the back there. Nice color, very well done. The only thing I can't understand is in the sky, there seems to be something strange going on with the shadows in the sky there. But it might just be the zoom, you know, the app that we're using now. Thank you.
Wilde Sampioen.
$11. Lovely lighting on these mushrooms, and the texture that the author's got here, very sharp. The one in front, really very nice and sharp. The time of day, it looks like quite late afternoon. I think that's been very handled, very well handled. I really like the detail and the textures that the author's managed to get here. The only thing I would do is the bokeh in the background on the top, especially on the top right, is way too much. It's too distracting because it's so bright. If you can somehow tone those down or even take them right out, you'd have a fantastic photograph.
Vroegoggend skoonheid.
Yeah, nice. 11. I like the tones that the authors managed to keep consistent, the browns and the oranges and the golds throughout the whole photograph, even in the foreground all the way to the background and in the clouds. Very nicely done, very nice composition. The silhouette of the trees, very nicely handled. Well done.
Rook.
Yeah, 10. As a technical exercise, I think it's very nicely done and it's fairly effective. The author has achieved what he wanted to do from a technical point of view. But I would have liked to have seen, and I know this is impossible, the smoke in the shape of something as opposed to just calling it rook. I don't know, create a face within the smoke somehow, but technically very well done.
Cosmos Pracht.
Um, 10. Yeah, very nice angle. I like the angle that the authors used. Got down very low and kind of looking up underneath the flowers and getting those nice pinks and whites and the stems, the green against the blue background, very blue background. Obviously taken with a very wide angle lens, and with that wide angle lens you tend to get a nice blue, deep blue sky without even putting a polarizer on. So nice and sharp, well done.
Eenvoudig.
$11. Yeah, very nicely done. Almost like a drawing, a pencil drawing. Very distinctive lines, a fair amount of detail. But then on the top right-hand corner, not corner, but in the middle, the white on the flower, it has no detail whatsoever, which worries me a little bit. And then on the stem of the flower, you've got these, I don't know, marks on the flower, which which is not in keeping with the flow of like a pencil drawing. I think you should have cleaned those out. Thank you.
Rusty bolt.
Uh, 10. I think the author's got some fantastic colors here. You've somehow managed to get the texture of the bolt. I can't actually make it out as a bolt, but you've got a nice shape and you've got nice colors, and it's reasonably sharp and you've got lots of detail. Thank you.
Inkies.
A 9. I think it's a very cute scene that you've seen here, and you wanted to take the photograph, which is fine. But I think there's a lot of, it's not, I would have preferred if you'd somehow just concentrated on the 2 on the right-hand side or the 1 on the left-hand side. I think the 3 are spread out too far. There's no connection between them. And then I think have a look at all the spots in your photograph. Once again, I say, I zoom in. One of the last things I do on my photos is I zoom in 200%, and I go and take out every single one of those little white dots. I sit there for an hour taking out all those little white dots with a brush healing tool. And those in the water are distracting. So you've got a nice photo, and it's the colors are attractive and it's well seen. But you've got to get more technical, more attention to detail to get it up into the higher categories. Thank you.
Cosmos.
$11. Yes, very, very well done. Once again, I think this is the same bee that we had in the previous photograph. So the passing the bee around. But jokes aside, it's got a lot of impact when it comes up. It's nice and sharp. It's a very clean image. I seriously doubt the author had such a clean background. He's obviously gone in and cleaned it all up and evened the colors out very nicely and enhanced the greens and the whites and the yellows. Very well done.
Half and half.
Okay, 12. A little bit difficult to judge a photograph that's neither black and white nor color. So you have to kind of step back, blink a bit, and then look at the photograph and look at the detail that the author's managed to get. Look at the skin, the toning in the skin. Obviously used frequency separation or whatever to clean out the skin, but there's lots of detail still there. The detail in the eyes are amazing. I'm trying to think if you could have cropped in much closer, like cropped off on the left-hand side, just short of the mask, and on the right-hand side, cut off a little bit of those leaves. I think it would have made, the eyes would have made much more impact. But yeah, well done.
Soort toring.
$9. So it's a very famous landmark. So it's taken at a nice time. It's a different time of the day, night. You've managed to get those golds and the golds in the sky, which is nicely done. I'm not too sure. somehow you need something different, and I don't know what it is. You've got a nice photograph of your tour to this icon, but I think maybe it's lacking a base. You seem to have half cut off the base. Maybe if it had a proper base, it would have been a little bit stronger. But in 1-star exposure is pretty good. Well done.
Yushanka,
12. Yeah, very strong portrait. A little bit of an unusual angle that the photo has been taken. It kind of works with a male. It wouldn't work with a female by shooting up the nose, by shooting up into the face. But on a male, it kind of gives that strong, superior feeling. The details are lovely. The eyes are fantastically sharp. Very well done. The only thing I could possibly say is on my screen, the hat looks a little bit too bright. I would darken down the hat and that sign, I would darken it down just a little bit. But lovely photograph.
Pad na gevaar.
Okay, 11. It's actually quite a difficult photograph. I didn't see the line straight away. I had to step back, and then I could see it. I'm not a fan of this black and white within a color photograph. To me, it doesn't actually work. It jars a little bit. It's too unnatural for me. I would have preferred just to see the stars through that arch, just the night sky. I think would have worked better for me. Thank you.
Cliffy, this is the last photo. It's called Woodsaw.
Okay. Yep, 11. I like the texture and the lighting that the author's got in the front on that piece of wood, on the piece of steel on the left-hand side of the photograph. You've got nice moody kind of photograph there. And I think that's where the main photograph should be. When my eye goes towards the right-hand side, then I see on top of the steel, it's too bright, it's overlit. And I'm thinking to myself, how can we maybe cut that out or darken it down? But the center is fantastic. Yeah, very well done.
Cliffy, can I go over to the team?
Okay.
The team is silos or water towers or towers in that sense.
Okay. So you also want to mark for each one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Silver ball and the miss.
Yeah, very nice. A 10. Yeah, it's got a lot of impact, almost sci-fi kind of effect on the photograph. The actual conversion, possibly not too well done in terms of the trees, where you've got this very white coming through, when in fact you expect blue to come through the photograph. Thank you.
Welgehoed watertafel. Sorry, ek sê watertafel, watertoring.
Okay. I think a 9. And I think it's more because in terms of the theme, the water tower is a little bit small in the context of the photograph. So I actually love the pieces of wood in the front and the trees and the colors, that goldy brown in the middle of the greens. I think that's quite nice. When my eye goes up to the tower is against this very white, stark background, and that brings it down for me. Thank you.
Silo?
Yeah, 12. Yeah, they actually, yeah, it's amazing. These are huge buildings, but you can put it into a panorama. Very well done. The colors of the cosmos in the front of it. You got the towers, very nicely done. The sky, nice and blue, lots of clouds. Yeah, excellent photo.
Silo's woonstelle?
Sure. Just gets better and better, yep. 13. The impact as this goes up is just amazing, because you expect these gray silos to come out, and the author's gone and colored each silo in and colored it looks like you've even put some buildings on the top there, and the color, the contrast with the silos, the lines are all very straight, very horizontal, very vertical. The little flowers on the tower are fantastic. Very well done.
Thank you. Cosmos Silo?
Yeah, 9. Really, also a nice leading from the tracks, the train tracks, and then the little carriage at the bottom there of the silos, very nicely done. I would have cut a little bit off the bottom because it looks a little bit messy down the bottom there. A couple of pieces of paper lying around and whatever. I would have cut the bottom off a little bit, and then taken that across the top left-hand side. There's a piece of structure. Take that out as well. Thank you.
Clustered Tower?
Yeah, 9. It's very interesting, and it's a nice shape, and it's kind of well taken. But I think that it's fairly overcast. There's not much light on it. There's not much definition going on. No textures. I wouldn't have included the wall. I somehow would have just included a little bit of the buildings, just a little bit. Possibly that'll help the composition. Thank you.
Cosmos Silo?
Yeah, 11. Yeah, once again, very creative way of displaying the theme of the silos in the background. Lovely colors, nice exposure, but you can see those silos in the background very clearly. Well done.
Silos?
10. Yeah, very nice landscape type photograph. Once again, the inclusion of the cosmos, lots of sky. The line of thirds has been very well adhered to, and there's enough enough color in the photographs to really make it stand out. Well done.
Watertoring?
Mm. 10. The use of the red is a very advancing color against the blue sky, has been well handled. I like the way the lines lead up, converging up into the sky there. Very, very nicely done. Well done.
Silo?
Yeah, I'm going to say 12. I don't know how the author managed to do this. He must have picked the cosmos that you're shooting through. What I was actually looking for is that the cosmos in the front has been overlaid on, because it's like a different perspective to the rest of the cosmos, but it works really well. And it frames the silos very nicely. Well done.
Silo weerkaatsing.
Yeah, 11. Very nice, a pleasing way that the author's done the silhouette, and not the silhouette, the reflection. And you can see it's like a little bit of movement in the water. It's not as sharp as the silos up on the top. Is it totally successful? I'm not convinced it's realistic enough. The water, you can see a very distinct line in the middle there. So the blending of the one photograph into the other, or the swapping, the creating the reflection, has not been technically that well handled. Thank you.
For Riesberg silos.
Yeah, a 9. Yeah, very, very nicely taken. The dominance of the silos is very impressive, and the tracks the foreground, and that is quite nicely done. I just don't think it's as sharp as what it should be, and the processing has not been done well. I don't know if it's H whatever. Yeah, I don't know what process is used, but I don't think it's too successful. Thank you.
Middelburg silos.
Yeah, 10. I was undecided between a 10 and 11. I think I brought it down a little bit because of the sky and the working of the sky. It looks like the author's just taken the burning brush and just burnt in the clouds on the top, without doing it particularly well. But yeah, the leading lines, the cosmos, the train taking you up towards the silos, the exposure on the silos are very nice. It's just the sky that I don't think has been too well handled. Thank you.
Let's fly away.
Yeah, 10. It's once again, it's a nice idea to put some detail onto the silos, just to take away from that grey kind of nondescript kind of silo feeling, and putting these on. But it really feels like these have just been put onto the top of it, and it hasn't been blended into the silos. It doesn't wrap around the silos. It just feels as if it's been put on top. Thank you. But for 2-star, great thought. Yeah, for 2-star, I think it's well done. Okay.
Cosmos silo.
A 10. Yeah, once again, I must say it's too difficult, or I mustn't judge, but it feels like a first attempt at composite, and you just cut out the cosmos and you stuck it over. It doesn't fit, it doesn't blend. It's just, I think the photograph would have been better without the cosmos. Thank you.
Rigtingwyser.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, I like the colors that the authors managed to get here, the greens and the slightly reddish. And then the white around the lighthouse, I think, has been very well handled. The detail that you managed to get out there, you've obviously done a lot of work in that lighthouse, in the light itself to get that. The only thing that worries me a little bit is there's a lot of black with no detail in it. If you can somehow get a little bit more detail in the black areas, I think it would be better. Thank you.
Moederkerk.
Yeah, 10, very nicely seen. I like the way the authors compose the photograph. It kind of goes up in stages and takes you up towards the tower at the top. Very nice base. I like the base. I like the first story and the second story. After that, the photograph gets a little bit boring for me. Maybe it's too much repetition. But well done. Well seen.
Viswaters. Oh.
Okay, I'm looking for a silo somewhere, but okay, just as a photograph, very wide angle, nice little bit of foreground, interest in the foreground, taking you into the background. What would I give it? Yeah, a 9.
Flowering silo.
Yeah, also a 9. Quite nicely done, interesting. It looks like this was on the silo. I can't tell whether it was on or put on afterwards, so the processing has been well done. The photograph is a little bit flat. The sky is a little bit overblown. And then I think once you're going to start getting into architecture, you've got to start straightening your lines and getting them to go straight up and down. Start playing with that. I think it would have been better if the silo had been, yeah, the sides of the silo had been straight up and down. Thank you.
Stilte, stilte voor die storm.
Yeah, very pleasing shot. The leading of the jetty and then the yellows and blues of the boats, I think are nicely done. It looks kind of Mauritius, Eastern Asian kind of photograph. Once again, I think, sorry, I must give it a score, a 9. I think the inclusion of the sky brings the photograph down for me. There's just too much sky there. I think you've got quite nice detail in the bottom end of the clouds. I would have cut it off just above those darkish clouds there and made it into a little bit more of a panoramic type of shot. Thank you.
Is it Christmas?
Yeah, 10. Yeah, very nicely handled, well done. Like the colors, a little bit to the photograph. Yeah, well done.
Winkelvenster.
Yeah, very nice colors as it comes up. The very strong, the yellows and the reds, and the textures on the wall in that. Give it a score of 10. I think that has been well handled. The textures, the colors, very nicely done. Well done.
Bird on a flower.
I'm slowly getting convinced that these drawings must have been on the silos. Yeah, once again, nicely taken. It's got a nice base to it. You've got all the features there. The overcast day didn't really add any punch to the photograph. A 9.
Doring Rosie, this is the last one for the theme.
Okay. Yeah, 12. Superb. Really good. Those flowers are just so sharp, and the wire then either side of those flowers just fades away, and the contrast of these fragile, very pretty flowers against the barbed wire is really, really well done. Obviously, the author has put those flowers there, and she's put it in a very strong position, very sharp, background totally out of focus. I don't know, using 2.8, 2.2, nicely done, lovely photograph.
Okay, Cliffy, can I give you the juniors just to give me the winning photo?
Okay, all right.
Okay, there's 3 that's got 12. It's the model,
Yeah,
Masikanda, and Nushanka.
yeah. Yeah, I think this one, the ones with the music instrument and the hands would be the winner for me.
This one.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go to the seniors. There's 2 of a 13 score and 12 of 12. I'm going to give you the 13 score.
Okay. I think I know which one I like. Let's see if it comes up in the 13. Okay.
It's that one
Yep.
and this one.
Yeah. This is the one that I like, and I think it's great. If I can add another comment, and I know I shouldn't be adding comments now, is just to cut a little bit off the foreground. Maybe you've got just a little bit too much foreground, but I think it's really well done. Fantastic photo.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Yes, okay. Ons het
Ahmed, winter.
ons het ja, gou geshower en so aan. So dit is nie 'n probleem nie. So ek hou van hierdie tipe vergadering. So ja. Cliffy, yes, thank you very much. That was indeed was very good having you. I don't know why we took so long to get the Engelsman so by Brandpunt, but really you did well. We enjoyed it. We took a little bit longer than I thought, but there was never a dull moment. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure. It is nice to be with you guys.
Ja. En almal wat ingeskryf het, baie dankie. Ons waardeer julle foto's wat julle ingeskryf het. So en deelname. So ek dink waar Salome wil Salome nog iets sê, maar dit is dan dit vir vanaand. Baie dankie almal.